Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video by Trianis Marine. I'm Andres, and today's call, we are yet again on a Viking. We work on a lot of Vikings. I say most of our work is on Vikings, but on this Viking, not for anything, it's just they're very popular fishing, sport fishing yachts. So we do a lot of sport fishing boats, and the majority of them are Vikings. But this unit here, it says a condensing unit for the salon AC, and it's been giving them low pressure faults or issues. So that's what we're gonna be here, which we're gonna be checking here today. So this is the low side access valve or base valve for the condensing unit. Over here you got the high side access valve. So we're gonna get in there and hook up our gauges, see what the actual pressure is with the system off. The system is off right now, and see where we at pressure wise. Let's do it. Do that one. Take this one off. See if I can take this without blocking the view for you guys. Not quite, I guess. Loose. Side hose right here. This is a little bit of a tight spot right here. If you guys work on boats or you follow me for a while now or see my videos, you see that tight spot is what we find on boats all the time. Let's see. In the boat, you can see it or you can touch it, but you can never see it and touch it at the same time. So a good friend of mine used to say. Okay, that one is in there. That's the high side. Now we're gonna do that low side. Just a little easier. Oops, sorry guys. This is a little easier right here. Pressure issues on marine air conditioning is very common. Low pressure or high pressure. Low pressure meaning the gas side of the system, either low on freon leaked out, dirty air filters, bad blower, not blowing over the coils properly, causing the pressure to drop, things of that matter. Sometimes a pressure switch, since I'm looking at this one right here, a pressure switch could be the problem. Board, electronic board, you name it. These things are in the water, in the salt water environment, bouncing around, shaking, getting hot. So it is it's a very rough environment for anything, any piece of equipment. And like I said, pressure issues are a very common problem on boats. You can see you got 1 unit, 2, 3, 4 units in total, 4 AC units. That's 4 possible different problems. Yeah, and then high pressures, that has to do with your seawater flow. This is this condenser where the seawater flows through and helps cool the Freon down. High pressure issues are related to that flow of water. A bad pump, clog seawater filter, aka sea strainer, sometimes bags, plastic bags, pollution get caught up on the intake. The pump puts a suction on the intake, and it sucks up the bag, and it just sucks it up, and it kills the flow of water. And also could be a switch, which is back there somewhere. High pressure switch is in here somewhere. So yeah, so that's what that could be. I'm gonna go turn it on. It looks like the pressures, oh, let me show you the pressures here. Let's see if you guys can see that. Let's see, I got a light because it's a little dark in here, so you guys can see a little better. But those are my pressures right now. Looks like 105. That a unit just came on, not this one, but another one. Looks like an 105 psi, just a little over 105. These are R22 equivalent units. There's no more R22s, so 407C is the replacement that we mostly use for R22 units. But originally, and this unit was changed. We changed this a couple years ago. We've done some work on this boat. We put this new one of this new unit here. I don't know if you guys can see over here. I'll show you a little closer. That manifold with all these white hoses, all these new hoses going that way, and the new manifold right here. Manifold. We did that. But sorry. Bang you guys against the. So now I'm gonna go upstairs and turn it on and see how low the pressure goes, and see if we actually have a low pressure issue or if it's electronics. So hold on. We don't wear shoes inside the boats because we'll damage the carpets and whatnot. This one is actually a little dark, so, and it has hardwood floors over there, so that wouldn't be an issue, but you get used to taking them off in every boat you go to, so it's just a habit. Okay, so here we go. We are in the salon area of the yacht, what we will call the living room in our houses. There's a little dining table right here, and this is the kitchen. In a boat, we call this a galley. Some sub-zero refrigerators here. We also work on those. But anyways, let's focus on what we came to do, which is this saloon unit. Right now it's on. They have it set really high at 77. Sorry for the little jumpy numbers on the LEDs. But let's bring the temperature down. Temperature down. All the way down. Let me see why they put a little taping here for. Why is there a taping here for? Okay, let's see. Put it right here. It's pretty soon we're gonna have a little section here that is gonna lit up saying cooling. I hope so. Let me see. Oh, gotta set to cool first, I guess. Now the compressor is gonna come on, and that's it. When the compressor, the light says cooling here, that means that the compressor came on. And now we're just gonna give it a few minutes before we go downstairs and check the pressures, just to make sure that it doesn't go off on the low pressure too fast. Because sometimes when it does that, that means that the pressure switch or wire, electrical connection or something like that, it's not good, and it's causing a faulty low pressure fault, or not real low pressure fault. Okay. Seems like it's staying cooling. So we shall go downstairs and check. This is where the air comes out of. So let's just make sure that we got both blowers blowing. I know this side's blowing because I can hear it. Yeah, it comes out of here, right here. You can see a little dusty area where it comes out. This there is not cooling very well. So that probably means that it's actually low freon. See this one? This side is also blowing. Let's see. Yeah, this is also blowing right here, right here. So, okay. So it's not going off on a super fast low pressure fault, which means most likely a pressure switch or something electric is faulty and it's causing the false low pressure issue. So let's go down back to the engine room and see what the gauges say. See you there. So by the time I made it down here to the unit, to the gauges, it was already off on low pressure. It had faulted out. And we can see here in my gauges that the pressure is dropped. That's 50 right there. It's right about 25 and it's about to shut off on low pressure. So we do actually have a low pressure issue. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna remove the little bit of freon that is left in it, and I'm gonna introduce dry nitrogen, and I'm gonna start looking for leaks in different spots and whatnot, and see if I can find where the freon is leaking from, and then correct it. Okay, so let me. I'm gonna go turn it off, and I'm gonna start introducing the nitrogen, and I'll bring you guys so you guys can see that. Okay, so whatever was left of the freon wasn't really much, just a little gas. There's usually inside a system there is liquid and gas on a regular system, but then this one leaked so much freon out that it was just a little bit of gas left on the system. That was the pressure that we were looking at. But I got my dry nitrogen right here, already hooked up to my gauges. So we're gonna introduce nitrogen into the system, and we're gonna raise the pressure to about 150 psi. My gauge here is this gauge, but sorry guys, sorry about that. This gauge here is busted, but I will be monitoring the pressure on my regular manifolds, refrigeration manifolds. Okay, so my nitrogen is open. We're gonna increase the pressure on my regulator until it starts flowing to the system, and then we're gonna wait for our gauge to reach about 150 right on the top on this one. Sorry about the lighting situation. And this one is a high side, so the 150 is right about here. So we're gonna do that, and then start looking for leaks with our bubbles. That's about right, 150 on both sides. So we'll close it, close it, close it, and close our nitrogen tank. Take this hose off of it. And let me put this away safely so it doesn't fall off and cause some type of damage to the boat. Nice, so now we're gonna go handheld on the camera work. I'm gonna start. Oh, by the way, I'm using this right here, micro leak detector, ultra sensitive, light sensitive, long lasting bubbles. We just call them bubbles. And we get them at the supply house. So we're gonna start here on that valve right there. With those packing nuts right here, sometimes they loosen up with the vibration on the boat and whatnot, and then start leaking. And then over here too, we got a suspect right here, that little elbow, and same thing with the valve. We'll use plenty of these spray and coat those sections. Here is where the line sets, the copper lines that go up to the air handlers upstairs connect to the base valve right there. So we're gonna coat that up really good. That really good. Plenty of this stuff. There. And then I'm just going to the usual suspects. Like I said, the unit is brand new, so there's no reason why to suspect that it's leaking anywhere. And this condenser unit, this condensing coil right here actually is made out of titanium. So there's highly unlikely that this is leaking. Okay, so being titanium and all, so it looks like their usual suspects. Let's check sometimes the pressure switches also can come loose over time with the vibration in the boat out there in the ocean. So I don't see any bubbles. Normally this stuff will start bubbling up pretty quick. Get the light closer to there so you guys can see. Okay. Yeah, so I don't see anything. Not here. I don't see anything here either. Right there. Oh, perfect. That's it. So I don't see anything bubbling. So that means that we're gonna have to go and upstairs where the two air handlers are at and see if the leak is up that way. Okay, so I'm gonna make my way up there and I'll bring you guys in when I'm set up. This is what I see every day. Huh? Beats being in an office somewhere, right? Oh, look at that. That white spot. You know what that is? It's a garbage bag. That's the type of stuff that gets caught up on the through holes coming into the boat, the intakes, and kills the ACs. So yeah, bit spinning in an office or a cubicle somewhere. And if you guys do that, then you know, no offense, but I couldn't do it. Okay, so we are up here, front of the boat. That's the captain's chairs right there, the wheel, and this unit, this salon units, we got two air handlers. I don't know if you remember it, but I was filling for air on both sides of the boat. So there's one in there all the way to the corner back in there. That one is gonna be a little harder to get to. And then there's another one in this hole. What did I say about tight spaces on this boat? But this one is actually not too far from here. Let me see. And wait for the camera to adjust to the dark. Okay, so that one is another air handler. And if you see those black lines going into it, those are the copper lines that comes from upstairs, downstairs, I'm sorry. And whatchamacallit, bring the freon to the air handler. So we're gonna check where they come into the air handler on both of them, make sure they're not leaking. So we're gonna have to cut some of that insulation and whatnot. And then if they're not leaking, then we gotta find the T where those two line sets. There's one line coming up from the engine room, and it goes into a T, and then it splits out to each of the air handlers up here. So we got to find those T's and then check them, because vibration does that to stuff on boats. Okay, so I'm gonna get set up and I'll bring you guys back. Okay, so we are here in the hole. I squeezed my whole self in here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be looking into this connections down in here and see if these connections are sound, and then if you guys can see, follow that line all the way across. Let's see if I can drag myself in here, see how it goes. Oh, it looks like there's a connection right there, actually right here. You see that connection goes in here, comes in here into the unit, and so I'm assuming that the other one is like right here. Actually, yeah, it is. So the connections are right here and there. That's what we're gonna be getting into. And then, like I was saying, if you follow the line right here all the way across, it looks like it goes into the T's right there in the middle, and then it splits out to the other air handler. So we're gonna check here first, and then we'll see. Well, the air handler, that first air handler that we check is not leaking. So obviously the problem is not there. Makes sense, because it's the easiest one to get to, so it's never the easiest one to get to. It's always the hardest one to get to. Well, but I still got hope. This is where the two T's on each line split into each air handler, that way and that way. And I'm gonna cut this insulation out and check in there and see if the leak is on this T, because if not, then I'm gonna have to crawl way in there. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is my hand. This space here is only about 3 feet. Okay, so if not, I'm gonna have to crawl in there and get to that air handler back there and check for leaks in that. That's gonna be a pain in the butt, but we gotta do what we gotta do, right? So I'm gonna check here first, keeping my hopes up, and then I'm probably still gonna check that one, even if I find a leak here, because why not? I'm already doing it right, do it right. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this off and spray, and if it's leaking, I'll show you guys. So that's what the T's look like, and there's one back there, you see it, that's the high side T. This is the low side T, the bigger one is the low side, the suction. The little one is the high pressure side, and they are not leaking. Seems like I sprayed plenty of this stuff in there, you know, and it's not leaking. Heartbroken. I gotta mention to you guys that these line sets go down, and they gotta go past that salon area that I show you, and then down into the engine room, into the unit. So that's quite a run. There's probably 40 feet of line sets between here and condensing it down below, and then you got another what looks like 10-12 feet that way, and another 8 feet this way, or maybe a little less, 6 feet down that way. But the T's are not leaking. Air handler number 1, which is back over there, is not leaking. So guess what? We are gonna crawl our sexy selves into this little corner back here and check that one, the connections for that one, which are probably not too far. They're probably right there. I see like some tape in there. So that's probably the connections right there. So it might not be too bad, you know, right? We gotta come in with a good attitude, otherwise we'll make it worse on ourselves, right? If we start complaining, there's no complaining. Do or do not, like Master Yoda used to say. So let me crawl my sexy self in there and check those connections, and I'll let you guys know what I find. Okay, so I had to go get my headlamp and another flashlight to light this place up, but those are the connections right there. I don't see my headlamp, can't show it to you guys. Take it out. Right there. Those are the connections here. This low side, the high side, and there's not really any bubbling, so those are not leaking either. So now we have a little mystery on our hands. It could be either an air handler that has a tiny pinhole in it and whatnot. After all, this is a saltwater environment. There's salt air. There's a lot of salt in the air, and these suckers sit up here, which is not really safe from the salt air. So that could happen. It happens. The air handlers were replaced a couple years ago, I think, so they're not that old. But again, it's a boat, and this is a rough environment. Okay, so what I probably end up doing here is, since it seems to be a very small leak, I can't detect it, I might go get my my electronic leak detector and then put some Freon in the system, turn it on, and then go and check on the air discharge down in the inside the salon and put my leak detector in there. So if the leak is in the air handler, in theory that the air handler, the blower, will pick up the Freon and blow it down to the salon, so I should be able to pick it up with my electronic leak detector down there, if it's so. But if that doesn't come up with a positive leak, then I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a leak sealer in the system. Since this is a very tiny leak, a leak sealer might be the way to do it. That might take care of it and be the end of it. Let me crawl out of this very tiny space, out that way. As you can see, I told you this place was tight. I'm gonna crawl out and then go out to the van and get my leak detector. I'll show you guys that. Okay, so I'm back on the boat from getting my leak detector and vacuum pump and Freon and all that to put it on a vacuum and charge it, put some Freon in it, and use my leak detector to try to sniff out a leak. And I came down to the engine room and I found these. This is the high side valve, and it's leaking. It has a tiny leak. You see how all these bubbles are building up in here and whatnot? And that's why I checked that one first, because there are always suspects. See this one right here? There are always suspects, like this one over here. Let's see if I can move the light. Okay, that one right there has no bubbles, but this one does. Tiny bubbles, little foamy on the top. That means that it's a very small leak, and that goes with what we got, because it says, the captain said that it just went off on low pressure. The system has been installed for 2 years, and it just went off on low pressure. So yeah, that could be it. I think that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that, fix that by tightening up this backing nut right here, and I'm gonna put them on a vacuum and charge it, and then I'm gonna still use my my electronic sniffer to check for leaks out of the evaporators and whatnot, but that tells me that this is the cause of the leak right here. Okay, so I should have waited down here a little longer before I went away and checked the air handlers, but like I say, it's a very small leak, so it takes I've been here for about an hour already, so it takes a little bit for it to build up. What I'm gonna do is, before I do anything, I'm gonna go upstairs and double check on those flare nuts on the air handlers and make sure that these doesn't happen upstairs too, and then there might be a tiny leak up there that needs to be addressed. But if not, then I'll vacuum. I'll put it on a vacuum, charge it with Freon again, and then start the process of using the sniffer on the air discharge and see if it picks up anything up. I'll bring you guys back for the next step. Okay, so I just fixed tighten up the base valve backing nut over there. Now I have it on my vacuum pump. Gonna leave it there in a vacuum pump for a little while. That's my setup right there, my gauges and whatnot. I have my electronic leak detector upstairs charging because it needed to be charged. So while this thing is vacuuming, that thing is charging, and then once this is done, I'll put Freon in the system, turn it on, and then we're gonna go upstairs and sniff around for Freon. So I'll show you that when I start doing it. Okay, so the vacuum is done. We're gonna put some Freon in it. See how it is in a vacuum right there. In the vacuum right there. Let's put some Freon in it. This is the tank, 407C. Normally these refrigerant tanks are color coded, but lately they've been coming all in the same color, which is a pain in the ass because normally you just look at the tank color and know what it is. On this ones you got 3 or 4 different Freons on a similar or same color tank, and it's just horrible. I just bought a new tank because this one is, it's almost done. This unit might take everything that's in here, few pounds. But I just bought a brand new tank, and it is color coded, so I'm happy about that. I'm not happy about the price though. Everything seems to be more expensive these days. But anyways, I just connected the tank, flipped it upside down because that's a 4 refrigerant. Starts with a 4. It's a mix. It's a blend. Actually, that's the right word. It's a blended refrigerant. It means that it is made out of different multiple refrigerants. So you got to charge every time you use it. You got to flip it upside down so you use the liquid, because the blend stays in the liquid state, stay together, but in the gas state, each gas has a different weight. So you might get more one than the other one, and then your charge on the system will be no good, and then your tank will be ruined because the blend is just messed up. Alright, so let's just put some Freon in it. Going to the high side. Going to the high side. Then once it gets to takes whatever it takes in the vacuum. I like to do it I do a deep vacuum, make sure that we get rid of all the moisture, and then I open up the high side and let it take all the Freon that it can take. And normally that takes me very close to where the charge should be, and if it needs fine-tuning, it's just a little bit more Freon, and that's all. On these boats you never know, because well, I guess on everything else, the line sets and the evaporators, you got multiple evaporators and the line sets and whatnot. So by the time you get those line sets filled with Freon, I guess. Sometimes it's not enough with the tank pressure. You need to use the compressor while it runs to take it. Okay. So right now we got about 120 pounds. 120 pounds right there. And I'm gonna go upstairs and turn it on and then fine tune it. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went upstairs, turned it on. This is what we're looking at right there. It's actually pretty good. 55, 60, 65, and 210. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll give it a minute and see if it needs any fine tuning, but so far the pressures look just about right for that Freon and the water temperature that we have right now in Miami. But believe it or not, it's pretty warm in Miami. I know it's the beginning of February and some of you guys are going through the worst part of your winter. But down here, it's hot. Right now, it's pretty warm outside. High 70s, I will say. And the water is pretty warm too. So that being said, these units are working pretty normal. Anyways, I'll watch it for a few minutes, fine tune it, and if it's all good, then I'll go upstairs and we use that leak detector to see if there's any leaks. I might just bring it down here too and make sure that that sucker right there is not leaking anymore. And then I'm gonna do the same thing upstairs, the air handlers. So that's that. Hey, okay, so unfortunately my leak detector wasn't charged, and I guess it's been dead for a while, and it's taking forever to charge, and it's not letting me turn it on to do what I said I would. But this is the plan. I will be back in a couple of weeks. Just let the system work for a couple of weeks, and I'm gonna use the leak detector, and the air comes right out of here. So first thing I'm gonna do is check here, see if I can pick up any traces of refrigerant. Do the same thing on that side over there. Once I get this thing fully charged, that was my bad, I should look at it and make sure it's charged. Same thing with all my drill batteries and whatnot. Then I went upstairs and I re-insulated those tees and whatnot so they don't leak all over the place. That will be like right up here. Like right up there. You can actually see a UV light that I installed a while back to purify the air. So yeah, I'll come back in a couple of weeks and I'll make a follow-up video to this video doing the leak detection with the leak tester, or the sniffer as they call it in the industry. And then yeah, just be on the lookout for the little follow-up video on how to leak detect with the leak detector. But that's it. Normally checking for leaks the way I did it with the bubbles is standard. Most of the time you find the leaks. We found the leak down below on the unit. I'm pretty sure that's the leak. I just wanted to double check, make sure that we don't have any leaks on the air handlers. I'm pretty confident the air handlers are good because, like I said, they're not too old. So they should be okay. Just want to make sure that they are 100%. So we don't have to come back because a callback is no good. That's it. So I'm gonna close this video out at this point. I gotta carry. I'll show you what I gotta carry. I gotta carry that cart full of stuff. Oh, because I also had to check the sub-zero. Let me check that and make sure there's. But I gotta carry that cart through that field on the side of the house out to my van. house is under construction. Well, it was they gutted it and then they redoing the whole thing. They've been going at it for a little while. So, but yeah, while I was doing this stuff, I noticed that this Sub-Zero drawer 700 drawer system model was not cooling, and I had to also put gas in that one. This one is definitely leaking, and these are very common, well, not very common, but they do leak, and when they do, we know exactly what has to be done. The evaporators leak down below, and you have to replace that. So I will make a video of that. I'm pretty sure I have a time lapse of me doing one, so I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. I think it's on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go ahead and follow at Trianis, Trianis Marine. That's my Instagram. That's my TikTok. Facebook. I don't use Facebook. That's for old people. I'm kidding. I don't use it though. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and now the YouTube channel, which is where I'm gonna start doing most of the stuff, most of this stuff. Try to teach you guys something. Maybe you guys are interested in learning how to work on the boats, yachts, and whatnot. So I'll do that on YouTube. But I do post a lot of pictures and smaller videos and clips of the jobs that I'll be doing whenever I remember to do so on Instagram. That's the main place, and now I'm gonna start working more on TikTok. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Go to my Instagram page, follow me. Go to my TikTok page, follow me. I don't have any followers on TikTok, I think. And if you like my YouTube videos, or if you know me, support me, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Okay? Thank you guys.